Alright, what's up guys, I'm Cook and today we got a brand new Ben 10 breakdown reaction before guys. All dying tank, but I'm not gonna say that for now, just because why? But anyway, what's up guys, I'm Art Cook again. Today we got a brand new Ben 10 breakdown reaction before guys, and today I'm going to be reacting to how Ben 10 handled character development or development I cannot say it. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna do the reaction. I think this is gonna be episode 6, 7, 8. I think there's 4. So 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, even 12. Yeah, it's definitely 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9. So there's 6 to 9. So this technically is Ben 10 season 2. No, season 1, episode 5 to 9, breakdown reaction. Or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So anyway, I'm gonna start the reaction. I'm done talking because I couldn't finish. I couldn't record my reaction early because early I couldn't record the reaction quickly because again I just my uncle was here, so he was yeah, it took some time. So I'm just going to do this reaction quick because if I don't, I'm done. So I'm gonna die. So anyway, let's react to it in 3, 2, 1, and play.
There it is. The turnaround. Max's lessons are sinking in.
Time to go cool.
Long alien. Yep.
So, how'd you get your power?
Oh, Ben.
What? What?
Oh, Ben.
What? Oh my god. Alright.
Hey everyone, Kuro the Artist here, and welcome back to another Ben 10 Breakdown.
Yep.
Today, we're continuing our Season 1 review with another batch of episodes.
Good.
A batch of them I found myself picking apart a lot of character interactions and development in
Yep.
these stories. While the first 5 episodes definitely helped with the show's world building, I feel these ones do a great job expanding on the characters, especially in the first season. It's easy to overlook everything that Season 1 gave us, so I hope that these reviews give you a new, fresh perspective to watch these episodes with.
I hope so.
Before we begin, I got another quick batch of updates for you. First off, a few of you pointed out that I mixed up the first 2 seasons with their stops, and the gang actually begin their adventures in Yosemite Park, California. The
Alright.
Season 2 opening, Big Tick, takes place in Yellowstone.
Oh.
Whoops. So the map is
Whoops.
actually supposed to look something like this. To help avoid little hiccups like this in the future, I got some help from M. Shelley Art. He's provided me with a great chunk of information that I'll be using on the series' road trip map going forward.
Alright.
You can check out his art on his Instagram account to show him some love, keep track of during these reviews, and
Okay.
the most popular request was a wrong transformation counter. Ask,
Oh.
and you shall receive. To get this counter caught up with the first 5 episodes, we need to rack this baby all the way up to a 1. That's right, in the first 5 episodes,
Oh,
Ben
yeah.
only mistransformed a single time.
When?
That was easy. This counter will now
Oh.
appear at the relevant times.
I don't
during my
know which
reviews.
one, the Kaken episode.
Lastly, I put up a YouTube community poll asking you guys what your favorite episodes were from my last batch of reviews. And by no surprise, Hunted won. But interestingly
Obviously.
enough, Permanent Retirement was the lowest one, while
Makes
on my own
sense.
ranking list, it was the Kraken that had scored the lowest. I think I'm gonna keep making these polls once per
Damn.
review to be able to compare and contrast my own opinions. and
Yeah,
those
he
watching this
keeps
channel.
doing this.
The first episode
So,
we're going to
nice.
take a look at today is called Tourist Trap.
Oh, this one is the least one.
February
For me.
4th, 2006. on
In
a
this
Saturday.
rotation,
It seemed like the
in
first
this
season started
rotation,
premiering
yeah,
on
this one
Saturdays
is
after
one.
the first 2 episodes premiered on a weekday. This episode starts with Max excited to bring the kids on a trip to Sparksville, which gains
Yep.
attraction by having displays
I remember
of
this
abnormally
episode.
large
I
objects as
hate this
artistic
episode. I don't know
sculptures.
why.
Bored by the seemingly lack of life in this town, Ben and Gwen decide to make their own fun, but accidentally release a hyperactive electric battery alien called a megawatt that starts
Oh.
causing panic to all
Yep,
of the
megawatt.
guests at Sparksville.
The door's stuck! He can't get out!
Yeah, nobody else help him. This
Yeah.
has to be done by an alien.
Yeah, nobody.
So later in season
So
2, we come to
realistic.
know that Stinkfly's goo is flammable, and he uses that to teach mutated Kevin to combine his powers.
Oh, yeah.
See, the kids make it seem so boring, but maybe I'm boring, because I'd find this place pretty interesting.
Me
What's
too.
more
I would
exciting
too.
than the world's biggest fishbowl?
I mean, he's right, because, like, you gotta think, how was that even created? Was this, like, hand-sculpted by fusing together a bunch of glass? Where did all the
True.
glass come from in the first place? Or was there this machine that was designed to build this? And then, in that case, where's this machine now? Does Does
Who
this still
knows?
work, or is this like something it's going to start manufacturing? Maybe the machine is also in there, and there's a little example of how to make a giant fishbowl and what went into it. Ah, man, do I want to go to Sparksville?
Really? Do you want to? Oh, this
Who is
guy.
this guy? Whoa,
Yeah.
Earl is voiced by Dwight Schultz, the
I
guy
don't
who
know.
voices Dr. Animo. You know, now that I know that, I kinda hear it. Yeah, and look, see, look.
Oh,
looks
come
like
on,
they're
I
having a
want to
little
hear
fun.
it.
Gwen's face is a little bit funky there. This is a great picture.
Oh.
This one too. I really like this
Aw,
one. Now this has
that's
a really
cute.
great angle for Ben's face. It's pretty challenging to try to get faces at this angle sometimes. But
Oh.
this is drawn pretty nicely.
Alright.
Although it does look a little bit big compared to the rest of his body, and so is Gwen's. You know, like all these pictures are kind of look like they're drawn in different art styles.
It does.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
Oh.
This is it.
Again, like, you know, how do you make something like that? And
Dude.
eventually the rubber bands like are gonna get so wide, especially for one of that scale. Let me see that.
I mean, maybe it's boring for kids, but for adults, it's interesting. So yeah, you want to know more things. That how did you make this? Where did it come from? How did you get this? How did you all other things? So for me, I wouldn't find this like very interesting, but I wouldn't find it that much boring. Of course, I wouldn't. So yeah, I would go there if I wanted to.
Again, like, where are you gonna get a rubber band that's big enough to wrap around all of this?
Yeah,
like,
crazy.
It's probably made with all kinds of rubber bands, and they're all the same color too. Like, there's a lot to learn about this ball
Oops.
of rubber bands.
Hold on a sec, guys.
Knows what secrets lie within.
Oh yeah,
That
there's
guy.
actually something in it. See, I was so fascinated by the rubber bands, I totally forgot what this episode was about.
I can't believe Grandpa was so excited about this place.
Yeah, speaking of, why isn't Grandpa here with them?
Yeah,
Like, it
wait,
seems like
where
he's
is
been
he?
gone for hours.
Where is he?
World's biggest
Well,
booger.
Oh, it's nice to see Ben and Gwen getting along.
Kinda.
Careful, Dweeb, you'll drop it.
And it's gone.
Wow.
So is the Omnitrix always leaking some type of electrical discharge?
Maybe.
Now this just flat out can't be safe.
Isn't this place a riot?
No. That's
So now it seems
Fuck
like there was
you!
only 1 megawatt originally, and so all the ones we end up with at the end is still all the same one. Yeah, this is not safe.
yeah, no.
God, they're so cool
Hi.
too. Looks like there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
with
okay, I like-
electricity here as well. Like I think
The
that-
only reason why I like this episode is because of the megawatts, but except for the megawatts, and also that one guy, who's the what do you call it, the manager of the town, whatever. Him also, but that's all. That's it. I hate this episode. And hold on a second, guys. I'm just trying to get this. Oh, I'm not going to be able to get it. Oh, F me. Okay, I got it. Alright. Alright, rest of the episode. Rest of the action.
they're probably like the first very strange thing that Ben 10 has done in its first season, and I like them a lot.
There you go.
Like their sounds, their designs, their movement.
Normally
Yeah.
wrapped up tight inside of it.
Earl here
It.
is the one who made the rubber band ball, so
Oh.
he's the guy we gotta
Yeah.
study to figure out how to create something like that.
It's also got a dangerous sense of humor.
Man, Earl just seems so defeated.
Isn't that kind of dangerous?
Not so long as people minded the signs.
That's true.
Damn.
You let it out, you
Oh man,
I
yeah,
love
he's
him.
so done with all of this. Upgrades.
That's
for
why I like him.
expansion. Just
His
because of all the
character
stuff
is so
we've seen,
done.
It's a little underwhelming.
He's so-
Like, I
oh,
like that we do get
whatever.
some extra details, like these little digital graphics right here. He's basically just been reskinned with like an electrical pattern, and then once you get to this eye, he's already upgrades. So far he's the weakest of the transformations.
I
Watch
guess.
didn't let you change into what you wanted it to, did it?
Hey, something for the counter. Upgrade rolling on the
Wow.
ball makes the ball seem so much bigger than it was when Forearms was holding it earlier.
Yep.
Man, the key poses on this character are always so solid. Oh, and Upgrade's coolest attack. Check it out.
Oh,
Should have just tried to shoot the laser again.
yeah, he
Wow,
showed
Max
up.
just stole a truck.
Give these sparklers a science lesson they won't forget.
Oh, the
Wow.
bloodlust. I'm pretty sure they don't have permission to do that. Are they really small for a second? Yeah, it's like they come out really tiny.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you never see them do this again.
Oh.
Either. This man has a death wish.
Oh, the humanity.
He's like a representation of how everybody tweets nowadays. So
Wow.
they seem to just want to joke around and stuff until
Why?
they started being attacked. And even right now, they're possessing a giant robot and they're walking away. I think they just want to be left alone.
They'll just wipe out the next town and so on and so on.
Was this his
Alright.
plan? Mental law matrix
Wow.
control.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the automatic. And then it
This is
was
awesome.
entirely
So right here,
calibrated
his Omnitrix
Omnitrix,
dial
but
has the same
what-
yellow
wh-
outline
but
that
who knows?
Sparks normally do. I like how it's legitimately like a ball of fire that he sort of throws. And
Yeah,
it's not just like a stream.
damn.
Miss me, doofus.
Wow.
How did he do that?
Teleport.
That was insanely fast.
Teleport.
Blast has lips.
Wow.
Just crawl out of the top. Ooh, and is this fire breath too? And it
Ooh.
swirls? The aliens' powers get so watered down in diversity in later seasons when they start favoring more aliens. Even this pattern with like the glowing sparking around him,
Yeah.
I just can't stop gushing about the aesthetics of
Damn.
the classic series. Wow, all these workers too.
Yeah,
How
it
does
looks
this place
good.
have this much money to spare?
It'll
Who
be
knows?
Ah, alien slavery.
That's
So,
disturbing.
Tourist Trap. I gotta say, I wasn't super excited to come back to this episode.
No,
But I did have
me
a pretty
neither.
fun time coming back to it.
I mean,
the plot,
it's
I'm
fun,
going to
yeah.
give it a 4. I wouldn't say that this episode is without
Ah.
its cliches and tropes, which has made me give plots a 3 in some previous reviews. But this one was just done so cleanly and well, and that unique Ben 10 flavor is on full display here, that I feel like the commitment put into this story's development definitely earns it that 4. It has a
Hmm.
nice little world that it lives in for this episode. The megawatts are really fun, and the
Yeah.
way they defeat them is
Those are
pretty
the only
creative.
why-
It
the
doesn't
only
really
reason
seem
why I
like
like this
anything
episode.
built up to
And that
It
guy.
would have been nice if there was a little bit of foreshadowing or a line here and there about something to do with electrical conducting. Maybe Gwen was doing a summer school research report for
Maybe.
extra credit on conductive materials or something. I don't know. You could weave it into the plot. Because this episode relies heavily on the assumption that you really know how conductive metals and materials work. And even if you don't, it's not impossible to follow. It just kind of makes the ending scene come out of nowhere, but not enough to really seem like a bad ending. Characterization, this episode deserves a 5 from me. The characters have very great chemistry with each other in this episode.
This is the problem I'm having with these accents, especially with the long accents. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, I'm on my low mode about.
And with this being the 6th episode, you should have some familiarity with the characters already to compare them by, and the way
I
they're
guess I
presented here
go with the
fits very in line
characterization.
with how they've
Well,
been
I
the first
guess.
5 episodes. One-off supporting characters can usually get in the way of episodes, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the future, but I felt Earl's presence in this episode was very needed for his context
Yeah, like
on
Earl.
Sparksville and the megawatts, and the deadpan delivery Dwight Schultz gave in this episode made all of his lines just that much more funnier. The megawatts are great characters of themselves. While they don't speak, they are very expressive, and they steal the scene every single time they're on screen. Visuals, I will give this another 5. This season has yet to
Let
disappoint me
him,
with any of its
man.
animation. Straight from all of the poses the megawatts make, the action with forearms, upgrade, and heat blast, and all of the smaller animations like the electrical effects the megawatts gave off, and all of the fire that heat blast was manipulating, looks comparable to, if not better, than a lot of the much more fluid animation we get in modern cartoons. Importance, I'm going to actually give this a 3. The existence of the megawatts do appear every now and then in the series, and don't really contribute to major story arcs. They almost seem essential in the world building of Ben 10, as they're some of the most recognizable aliens in the series. And while you wouldn't necessarily need this episode to get all of the major plot points down, I would argue that you really are missing out on the Ben 10 experience if you skip this episode.
I guess.
Entertaining, this is a strange rating I feel I'm giving it, but I would say a 3. While I have
Huh.
obviously had a wonderful time watching this
Well,
episode
alright.
again, as a kid, I really didn't have the appreciation for it as I do now.
Yeah,
I
me
remember
too.
despite all of its wonderful animation quirks, somehow it just still wasn't as interesting to me. But as much as I want to gush about what this episode means to me, I feel like when it comes down to it, I really can't see myself putting this episode on for fun. It's absolutely an episode to appreciate, but I'm not really sure if it's anyone's favorite. That brings
Yeah.
this episode to a
Me
total
neither.
of 20
That's
out
not
of
my favorite
25
episode.
points.
But that's a
Moderately high
good
on this
score.
scale. We still
Oh
have 3 more
god.
episodes to go
Now
through.
maybe I might start
Strike
liking
5
this episode.
returns
I
to
don't
write
know.
The 7th episode, Kevin 11. That
Ah,
premiered
this one.
February
Oh,
11th,
this one is going to be good.
2006. Go figure. This episode begins with Ben getting the trio kicked out of a fancy hotel
Yep.
in New York, which causes a strong argument between Ben and Max. Ben storms off to an arcade where he meets Kevin, a runaway with the power to absorb and discharge energy.
Oh,
Kevin
God.
and Ben quickly become friends, but Kevin's bad influence, combined with Ben's current resentment towards Max, finds Ben tied up in some criminal activity. Oh boy, I've been waiting to rewatch this one.
Yeah, me too.
The new Sumo Slammer video game's in there.
VIPs. Oh,
Then why have all those signs and stuff? You know, it's kind of like advertising for an event that you can't get into. Like, I've seen VIP events at hotels before. They have, like, maybe one small sign. Man, that's a cool looking setup. Yeah, freaking chuck it at them.
Damn.
Come back.
Oh my god.
I never even got a chance to take a shower. In a real shower for the first time all summer.
Wow.
I mean, Ben can show a little bit of empathy. Like, they've been in this motorhome for who knows how long, and Gwen's like, all I want is a real shower. Like, man, Ben, get your head out of your ass.
It was no big deal.
To you, and that's all you care about. No,
Fair.
neither is getting booted from
Wow.
a 4-star hotel I already paid for.
Yeah.
This is like one of those things you see where it says, like, when you're a kid, you side with the kid, but when
Yeah.
you're an adult, you side with the adult. Like, man, I mean, if he paid
Damn.
for a 4-star hotel and got kicked out, and Ben's showing, like, zero empathy. You know, Max is actually showing some restraint. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he should, like, come down on Ben, but, you know, he's justifiably as angry as he is acting right now.
Yeah.
You're not my dad.
Damn. I remember that.
Cuts deep, Ben.
Well, if I was, I...
Oh.
See, Max doesn't even know what to say to that. Like, he's done nothing but support you, Ben. And that one time he
Yeah.
was wrong about the Kraken, he owned up to it, and he still came through in the end. Like, I had a
Damn.
career working with kids for a little bit, and they can be pretty heartless delinquents. So I can't say this is totally unrealistic, but I don't
Yeah,
know, it
this
just
is not
makes
unrealistic.
Max
Trust
get
me, it
treated like
is.
that after
It
just trying
isn't.
to do something nice for his grandchildren.
Where do you think you're going?
Out. Place is a ripoff. You know that? You're right.
There he is.
Yeah.
They're not ours.
How did Gwen find him?
Who knows?
Here comes trouble. I think this is the first time you see Accelerate's transformation, right? This one's a little disappointing as well because it starts
Why?
the same way as Forearms and Wild Munch.
Oh, yeah.
They all start the same way. And then you get like this weird like transition. It almost looks like
Hmm.
a Sony Vegas transition.
What?
To the eyes. Like, see, it looks like there's like some unintentional rippling happen around it. Not exactly
I need
sure
to
what's
watch the
happening.
Sony commercial
There's
again.
Flashes. Same with the legs. They just kind of bleed into the Accelerate legs. And very quickly, too. That's like 6 frames
Ooh.
to get to those legs. This green glow around the legs is nice, too, but then it just kind of flicks away. It doesn't look like
Oh,
it fades.
yeah. Hmm.
I don't know. It's a tie between this and Upgrades as the most underwhelming transformation
Yeah,
so
me
far.
too.
Little early for Halloween,
Sadly.
dude, isn't it?
That's clearly not a kid in a costume. I
Yeah.
mean, his legs are backwards. Oh, hang on. That sounds like a familiar scream, too. That one's not it, but I do hear that one in a lot of animated media as well.
Yeah,
That's it right there.
that's the one.
Ah, found it. They probably got the animation for this after they already recorded the voice actors and didn't want to bring somebody in just for one scream. That might be a stock scream too, but I don't recognize
Who
it
knows?
enough to try to find it.
Yeah,
You can
that
tell
one I
all
don't
of
know.
These are just pictures of the characters shrunken down because of how thin the outlines look compared to everything else. Like, look at this flag. This flag was probably animated at the aspect ratio it's being presented in. But down here, Ben and Gwen look so sharp because of the shrunken images.
We gotta go?
Yep.
Like now, Ben.
Don't you mean you have to go?
Oh,
Mhm.
the tension. Oh, and Gwen just gives up on him
Man.
too. A lot of conflict.
Poor
in this
Gwen.
episode.
So, how'd you get your power?
Oh, Ben.
Ah! Oh no!
Ben.
Oh no
Where's Ben?
Oh, he's mad.
no no no! I remember that.
Sneak in and
Oh
play
no!
the Sumo Slammer
Ben is in
video
trouble.
Yeah, all you did was something totally illegal, Ben.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Check it out. Wait's over, dude.
Wow.
Now, people always like to point out how this is like a lot of immediate action and security for something that's just holding a video game. In fact, I'm pretty sure the pop-up episodes point that out too. So it's theorized that this was set up by the police to try to capture Kevin, as he never really seemed too secretive about keeping his powers out of the public
Really?
eye. Also, I'm
Wow.
just noticing this doesn't really line up, and this circle should not be passing over the building.
Yep, no. Looks weird.
Why are you dropping them?
Honestly.
I want them to steal, but I mean, like, you went through all this effort,
Yeah.
you're just gonna chuck it on the ground? It looks
Damn.
like we're getting two different animations layered on top of each other for this effect as well. You see, there's a transparency with the electricity, but also over itself, where it overlaps and becomes stronger. My first guess would be it's the same animation, but rotated. But some of this discharged
Maybe.
electricity just looks so different from the other. And it looks like in the negative frames, all they do is switch the base color and the shadow for Kevin. They don't actually invert his skin. Because if
Damn.
they did, it would look like this hand right here. They probably did that
Oh,
so
yeah.
that there would be a difference between the effect overlaid onto the hand and the effect around it. And yeah, look, the electricity is wrapping around
Yep.
the arm, as there's some of it in front and behind. That's probably why they have two different animations for it. And it even stops at the wrist right here.
Time to rev things up.
Time to murder this man.
Yep. Let's murder. Let's murder.
Okay, yep, no, he groaned. That means he lived. Kevin is like instantly not ready for whatever is next.
That
Such a great
face.
shot.
I'll
You
leave
see
him with
the
that
little
face.
gush of wind that shows up. It's really easy to forget that the Omnitrix, despite being placed on Sing-Fi's face, isn't his eye. He sees with these little stalks right
Yeah.
here. I wonder what that vision's like, since he's got two eyes going
I
forward,
think,
two going
I don't know.
It's gotta be confusing. So they probably needed to animate this twice, because you can see with the outlines that they're obviously to scale in the way that they were drawn. And yeah, if you look
Yeah.
at Kevin's peace sign here, you can tell that these are two different illustrations.
When I find him,
Should really be enjoying this.
Aw.
So why aren't I?
Because you care! See, this
Yeah.
Unreal head model isn't really like the
He does.
more polished one I pointed out in the last review. Doesn't look bad at all, but just goes to show there's always many different ways to try to draw the same angle.
a money train loaded with cash comes down this track.
Oh no.
Instant jackpot.
Hundreds
Why?
of innocent people will be killed.
Yeah.
No pain, no gain.
Wow.
Man, Kevin is a psychopath.
I mean, he is.
Anyone else but yourself.
You talking about me?
I'm talking about me.
There it is. The turnaround. Max's lessons are sinking in.
Time to go full arms.
Wow.
Nope. This is a great
Heat
effect.
blast.
Heat blast is glowing too. I remember later on there's an episode, Above and Beyond. There's a scene where Alan Albright, a character who has Pyronite abilities, a shadow literally passes over his flaming hair as if it was a solid object and it gets
Wow.
darker. So it's like after a while they just stopped treating Heat Blast's fire as its own light source.
Yeah,
And I always
sucks.
wondered if like this should be burning Kevin. Is that red fire? Oh, that'd be cool if like Kevin had red fire and Heat Blast had yellow. And yes, I had the figure where it was Kevin and you could snap on the Heat Blast parts.
Oh,
and his
thank
skull
you.
is unique too. Like it's like he actually absorbed Pyronite DNA and was fused with it, rather than just like Frankensteining on a Heat Blast bit. Yeah, his fire is red. I never noticed that. It actually is a different color.
Yeah. Oh god.
That's like the teleporting
How?
move he did in the second episode to save those.
And
people.
the last episode.
Sort of has a teleport.
Yeah, episode 6.
That would also make sense of how
I
he
don't know,
appeared
but who
behind the
knows?
megawatts in the last episode as well.
Yeah.
Like he can move as fast as fire.
Yeah.
Or some bullshit like that.
Thank you for mentioning that.
That I feel like should be way too hot for Ben to actually grab onto.
Maybe, but
For Empon Max to save the
who
day.
cares?
None of this would have happened if you just obeyed me from the beginning.
Yeah.
He's right.
All about trust.
Go and stink fly. See you at the 39th Street Bridge.
4 arms is huge.
Yeah.
Power's gone. Looks like you're about to give me some more.
Oh no.
No.
Now his electricity looks very
No.
different. Just because he's doing
No.
something different, or this is just a different animation studio
Oh,
that worked
yeah.
on this scene. Oh yeah, look, because like Forearms lifts him up, and they actually are discs. They're not orbs. And he kind of shoots them out. Yeah.
Oh,
now-
yeah,
now
they are
look
discs.
A little bit more like before. So I wonder what that was, like an
Who
energy
knows?
construct.
Who that knows?
This is
Oh.
pretty creative too. How like he grows an arm.
Oh
out of his
yeah.
shoulder in order to get that extra arm.
Disgusting.
The eye is a bit cheap though. He just looks down and his face fades. I feel like if they even cut the transition out and he just looked down and looked back up, it would probably read a little
Oh,
bit better.
yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
I have to make sure the hair matches on the same loop frame too if I'm gonna do it. Yeah, when he's looking down, his hair changes like too quickly, so maybe I'll cut out another frame or two.
Ooh. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
does look a little bit
Ooh.
better. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
No, I like that.
Nice. So Kevin said that the gang hung
So
out under the
disgusting.
39th Street.
I don't care. That's
I wonder if that's what it actually
disgusting.
looks like. Here I am on Google Maps now. We're right here on 39th Street. Is there even a bridge? Maybe this? Right here? Yeah, this looks like a highway bridge. Yeah, so it looks like that gang's hideout could be right around here or something. Or right here, since this does look like the
Wow.
building they were
Oh,
just fighting
yeah.
next to. And this would be the perspective of the bridge in the background, compared to how it is up here.
Yeah.
So if those 4 kids couldn't lift up that pipe, but Grandpa Max could, he's lifting.
Yeah. It's huge. Damn.
All of their punches feel so brutal too.
Oh.
So that should be enough time for it to time out.
Yeah.
It's like Ben's trying to resist. the
Yeah, he
power.
is. I think he
Guess I
is.
went too wild with power. I don't have anyone else like you to help me.
We can still be partners. We'd just be kicking butts for good.
Kevin really should have taken that offer. Can
Honestly.
you imagine? There's no reason he shouldn't, other than he's just being an asshole right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I forgot they introduced this early into the series. So yeah,
What?
the Omnitrix has a defense program where if
Oh.
somebody tried to remove it, it would send this electrical
Oh, yeah.
discharge.
You're my grandson, and nothing will ever change that. But my trust is something you'll have to earn.
Yep.
I really love the way they've been handling Max in these episodes.
Yeah.
The episode kind of ends here too, so it's not even like
I think this one
wrapped
deserves
up
a
so
25
nicely
out of
and
25.
But
At
Ben
least for
made a
me.
mistake, and this is something that he needs to reflect on to grow as a person until the network says otherwise.
Wow.
Now, if I always rated the plots based on how either unique or complex it was, I don't think an episode can ever score a perfect 5. The way I like to see ranking my plots is how well does this fit within the Ben 10 world? Does it really make sense, or is there too many
I
plot holes?
mean-
Are the concepts executed in a satisfying
like it does.
way? And
Why
does
not?
it really seem like there's enough love and care put into what's happening? And personally, I think this episode is all of that. Everyone loves when the antagonist of a series
Thank
comes
you.
in, who's always the cooler guy and has like the slightly better power. But in this case, it isn't really about just someone one-upping Ben. It's really about the example of someone Ben might be without people in his life to guide him. They do a lot to stress that Ben and Kevin are alike in many ways. But in the topic of nature versus nurture, the experiences that Kevin has been through in his life so far, and the way Ben has been brought up, creates a strong contrast at their core values. Kevin really seems desensitized to the idea of really relating to other people and caring about them. He's
Yeah.
willing to let countless people die for a
Yeah.
temporary financial gain, and has no interest in sticking around to even see if anyone survives. And in this
Of course
episode,
not.
Ben went from sneaking into an exclusive hotel game preview to breaking into a warehouse and actually stealing the game, all because of Kevin's own influence. This isn't something that Ben would have thought to do himself. But if
Yeah.
I'm going to keep elaborating on this topic, I will jump over to my character's rating, which I do believe deserves a 5 as well.
Thank you.
The dynamic between Max and Ben, and this is really one of the only episodes in the series they actually have some legitimate conflict with each other. So
Yeah.
it's easy to say it just kind of comes out of left field and is never dealt with again. But the way this conflict arises and is resolved in this episode, I feel is very realistic. Not just in a sense of how the characters are portrayed, but just in real life dynamics between children and their guardians as well. I really like the way all the characters interacted with their conflict
Yeah.
in this episode, and all of it was played straight. No goofy music, no jokes.
True.
This was some
I like
actual
that.
character conflict, and just
Sometimes
like
I
real-life
like that.
situations, just when
And
people
in
come
this
to an
situation- in this
understanding,
episode,
that doesn't
I
exactly
do.
mean everything's all right in the end. Visuals, I'm just gonna give a 4. Everything with Kevin was handled.
No! Damn it! 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 I'm not gonna skim because if I do, no. But no, I wanted this episode to deserve a 25 out of 25. Damn you, Koro. Damn you.
Excellently. But a lot of that was only the back half of the episode. By the time you're
Alright.
done watching it, you almost forget that Ghost Freak and Accelerate were even in it. I'm not saying every time
Wow.
aliens appear they have to do something that really stands out or
True.
introduce a new power, but I will also say that Kevin's visuals are really easy to get lost in, and the scenes with Heat Blast and Forearms are great. I feel like
Yeah.
if I wanted to evaluate the episode fairly, there's also a large amount of the episode episode that just looks pretty plain as well. Importance has to give a 5. Now, I've already
Oh,
rambled
come
a
on.
lot with the first 3 categories, but that pretty much goes to show why this episode is so important. Not only because in the future Kevin becomes a recurring villain in the 2nd season, but because he becomes a main character in the next 2 series.
Yeah, it
And
does.
still has subsequent appearances in Omniverse. And this is a character that you really do need their introduction episode to understand and appreciate them. And it ties directly into his next appearance. And entertaining, a 5. That brings this episode to a 24
No,
out of 25.
one,
We
one.
already have an
Come
episode
on.
that beat Hunted.
That makes me
It's
so
easy
mad.
to not want to give episodes high ratings just because you want the ones that are really up on the scale to be absolutely special. And perhaps had I not seen this entire series all the way through, I wouldn't have given such high ratings in anticipation for things to get even better than
come
this.
on.
And it does, in a lot of ways, don't get me wrong. But I think it shouldn't matter how many high-rated or how many low-rated episodes
You know what,
there are
yeah.
in the end, just as long as I feel like I'm giving the episodes a fair chance in the rating
I
system.
guess.
Hi guys, just a quick reminder. 5 years later, chapter no, February 8, caught in the cross. Read for February 18th. February 18th, 2006. Vilgax sends 2 robot drones down to an already in
The next
progress
episode.
battle between Ben and a female biker gang.
Oh,
led
yeah,
by
Hall.
Rojo. Caught in the crossfire,
Rojo,
Max
yeah.
gets injured and has to stay in a hospital, to which Ben feels responsible for. Meanwhile, one of the drones from the previous battle merges with Rojo, turning her into a cyborg.
Yeah.
She's telepathically contacted by Vilgax, saying that
How?
now that she's
You know what
intertwined
makes
with
sense,
his own
but
technology,
how
he
still?
will kill her if she doesn't go after the Omnitrix herself.
Yep.
Got ourselves another big one.
They should be able to find and retrieve the
I'm enjoying these breakdowns,
they
but sometimes I don't have time.
system's still operational.
So.
No, it's not. Also,
So if I'm not doing a good lesson, like if I'm not having fun, I am having fun, guys. Trust me, I am. I'm just like, it's so irritating for me to do these kind of actions when I have time, when I don't have time. Yeah, it's just so annoying.
this is the first time we see
I don't
Vilgax
have, but
covered up.
sometimes I
He's
don't.
finally
So yeah, I'm
regenerated
mad.
and healed. Yep, his face is all healed and
Ooh.
everything. Remember when animators actually had to draw the logo on boxes and stuff every
Wow.
single frame too? Now they probably just create the image and then digitally morph it to wherever it needs to
Damn.
be. You guys ever notice how the final spin in the intro has a mixture of both the cartoony art style and the painted official stills?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
Stinkfly even
it
appears
does.
twice. So does Forearms.
Yeah.
2 diamond heads. And I don't even think every alien appears here, right? So they didn't need to repeat them. In fact, it looks like only the painted art has the swirl effect placed on the animation and the others just kind of shrink in there. So maybe it was just the painted stills at first and it didn't look like there was enough aliens. So they added in the extra cartoony ones. And big
Maybe.
man. I wonder how he's able to control the direction of the shockwave without it just going in a ripple effect.
Wonder if that's a yes.
So this is the first
What?
change in Forearms' voice.
Oh.
They're still having him voice him a lot lower than he gets later in the series, but they dropped the growl effect.
Good.
Everyone's here.
I hated that.
No time. Possibly the outfest.
Now this time they really don't have any time. It would take forever.
Yeah, they
Let
don't.
me get you. Yum, yum, yum.
Why do you get that?
That's such an
I
awesome
wouldn't.
design. How
Maybe
come
I
she
would,
didn't
but
get an action figure?
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I
This
don't
scene was
know.
always so cool. I never really understood what was happening here, though. I asked Duncan Rouleau about it on
Yeah,
Game
what is
Time,
happening?
And he gave an explanation on why he's able to do it with Ben later in this episode. So maybe it's the same thing with his drones or something when he's doing it with her here.
Maybe
I don't know. I'm not gonna
Take
say
those
that.
machines he's hooked up to and see if I can make him better. What if I went ghost free? I could meld with him or something. I just want to help him.
Man.
It's really cool he's starting to think about his powers like this. Like what Tetrax told him is really sinking in. Like his aliens are more for just fighting. But it also must
Yeah.
suck to know he's literally powerless to help his grandfather right now. Uh-oh. Wow, I wish I could see that well. Also, the
Yeah,
kid
you
right
will-
here is
yeah, I wish.
surprisingly very pixelated
Imagine,
compared
that
to
would
the
be nice.
Omnitrix and arm right here.
Ooh, that
Maybe
looks-
it was
yeah.
scaled up or something.
That looks
Oh,
weird.
I'm so sad about this.
I would be too. Yeah,
Yeah, fuck that trash can.
Time to go forearms.
of course.
Right. This is the 3rd episode in a row we got.
Ha!
aliens, too. How
So
is she
many
flying
long
right now?
aliens
She
right
just kinda
now.
Floats, I guess. Well,
Not
the
so many,
droids
but
float too, so
it's getting there.
makes sense. Remember when I was just talking about the heat blast light source? This isn't what I was referring to, but this is another example how it kind of comes out of the smoke like an object. But I mean, an
I
effect
mean-
like this to pull off, thinking about firelight passing through something as transparent as smoke, that would be an insane thing to try to like put that much care into pulling off.
Damn.
Again, like Heat Blast has
How?
super speed. I swear to God.
Super speed or teleport
For you guys to be
powers.
around, didn't have this watch. None of this weird stuff would be happening.
It's really good to see Ben think about it like that. Like, he's
Yeah.
not exactly... Well, I mean, he is right. Like, he's right, but it's not his fault, technically. But the fact that
No,
he is
it's
feeling
not his
responsible
fault.
for this
Guys, I
is showing
think-
a lot more empathy than he has in previous episodes. I'm really seeing a succession of growth with Ben from the first episode up until now. This season already seems pretty well planned when it comes to developing Ben's character.
Yeah, but since it won't come off, there's nothing we can do about it.
Gwen too, because she easily could have agreed with Ben right there, but she's also taking this seriously and giving him the love and empathy that he needs, because this is a very
Man,
big
I love
deal
this
for them
episode.
right now. Like, their grandfather is in
do.
the hospital, and they have this crazy bionic alien woman coming after them. So I'm very happy that they're writing them like real characters.
Yeah, this
right
one
now,
the
taking
character
this
is
scenario
going to
seriously.
get a 5, definitely.
Doing this for you, Grandpa.
Now, I feel like this is a very stupid move, honestly, because he's like 10 years old, and he really like can't just go out there and survive in the world on his own.
I
But in a
mean-
way, I feel like it's a sign of maturity for him. Like, he's openly caring about his family now, and sees the danger that his actions are putting him
Yeah. Later it's going to be more, I
in.
guess.
Perfectly timed radio, as always.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they're really doing this back to back. Just
course.
magic radio transitions
Of
come and answer your
course,
questions.
of
Like every
course.
movie and TV show does it. There's just a convenient news broadcast to help
Yeah,
with exposition. But
convenient.
seeing it happen back
Why?
to back, that's
So
quite a
stupid.
bit much. Yeah, auxiliary.
This party started without me. He wants his Omnitrix, he can have it.
Who's he?
Oh yeah, that's right. Ben has no idea about Vilgax
yeah,
at all at
yet.
this point. I've always been wondering, like, if the things at the ends of his hands are fists, like they appear here, like up here and down here. Because other times it's very clearly claws. See,
Yeah.
like right here. So like they morph into fists when they need to be, but that's about it.
If you can't destroy it from the outside, take it down from the inside.
Looks like you're not better off without Grandpa either.
Yup.
Huh.
Said it for me.
Yep.
He just goes straight for it.
Damn. Oh yeah, this is the first time Kana Ben meets Vilgax.
Cannot hide from me.
I guess,
God, that would
kinda.
horrify me.
Me too.
Naruto. So here you can see Upgrade, he does start merging with the machine, but you can always still see the machine underneath him, even when it's supposed to be merging. Like, see, this part is supposed to be this part, but then it just disappears
Ah,
right in this
weird.
one. And it looks like right here it snaps into like the model mode that it's supposed to be in. And you can even see some loose lines right
Yeah.
here from when they draw the line down too much.
What the?
So this machine isn't actually mechanical. It's all just a pulley system,
Yeah.
right? I wonder how Upgrade is able to merge with it. And also,
Who the
notice
heck
right
knows?
here, like there's a piece of him left on it as well. This is a machine, though. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so see right here, it looks like the machines are coming out of her arms, right? But here, everything just seems to
Yep.
fall off of her, like it was all just a protective layer. Like, I would have gone for a different
Who
effect
knows?
for the armor falling off.
Yeah,
When I
me
went
too.
Upgrade, I saw this alien. He said I should be afraid. Grandpa, you look afraid.
I'm fine. And
Yeah.
you'll be fine too.
Yeah, he's coming for you.
Yep,
Vilgax.
of course, sus. Ooh.
Alrighty, so the plot of this episode, I'm gonna give a 3. This is Ben's first
I mean,
introduction to
whatever.
the mystery of Vilgax. And while this episode puts a lot of effort into the characters and building on the Ben 10 lore even more,
Yep.
the plot itself really doesn't have much going on. It was cool
Yeah,
to see
you
someone
want to,
suffer
yeah.
a realistic injury, despite it being to my favorite character, Grandpa Max. Whereas later on, a character can get thrown into a wall and somehow they're okay. It really validates all of the lessons he's learned previously, and it definitely
Yeah.
plays into his decision making and his opinions on things in this episode. But this still only brings its characterization up to a 4. Ben has a lot of
You know what? Fine, you won. I'm done.
great
I'm
moments in
done.
this episode, and it's nice to see Gwen and Ben share some screen time that isn't just them bickering. But like permanent retirement, Ben's pretty much the only vital character in this episode that really gets enough attention to have an opinion on how
What
the
about Gwen?
characterization was treated. Visuals are just gonna get a 3. Everything we saw was pretty good, but nothing too fascinating has happened. But the last couple of episodes were very fascinating, and in comparison, this one is pretty average. Nothing too crazy about the animation either. The animation was definitely done very well, but nothing really stood out to me like it has in previous episodes. Importance, it is going to get a 2. This is Ben's first
Wow.
introduction to Vilgax, so that's an argument for important legitimacy. And
Yeah.
Ben does reference the vision he has in the season 1 finale
I think
from
it
this
should
episode.
deserve
But
like
other
a
than
3 or
that,
4.
You get a great story that
But
delves
whatever.
into Ben as a character
Whatever.
more, but it's not one you really need to see, and you're not really missing out on much. But of course, the more episodes you watch with Vilgax that build towards the Season 1 finale, the more weight the finale has. So I would say skip it if you want to, but there's certainly something to get out of it if you want.
I mean, I
And
wouldn't skip this
entertaining, was a
episode, but
tough
what
one,
about?
But I've decided to give it a 2. All of the great things about this episode aren't really enough to call
Alright.
it fascinating. It has the
It's
makings
fine.
of everything that would be a cool episode, but I feel like describing this episode makes it sound a lot more fantastic than it actually is. That brings this episode to a total score of 14 out of 25. It's lower than I thought it would be, but I
Damn.
wouldn't really change anything I've said about
Come
it.
on.
Man of Action finishes this batch of reviews
Alright,
with
one
an
more.
episode that premiered February 25th, a Wednesday, interestingly enough, titled Last Laugh. Ben must
Alright.
battle his fear of
Oh,
clowns
yeah.
when the trio visit a
This
circus
one is the
where
least
main
one,
act,
I know.
Zombozo, is secretly using his act as a front to steal people's energy. This episode also introduces a handful of recurring villains and dives deeper into the mystery of why Ben's personality is always slightly different when he's transformed as Ghost Freak.
Yeah. Oh god. What the? That's
There's a
kind
lot
of
of quick and
alright.
snap animation happening right here too, with the way the fist comes up and then grabs him into the water, is jerked into the air for a bit, only to splash back down. So you see here. It's a trick to make animation look very intense. Oh, is that like a green outline around his eyes too? Is that an early design choice or is that a mistake? Either way, I like it. Nah.
I'm going to finish this breakdown quick because if I don't, I'm actually going to die. Oh god, let me finish this breakdown.
Okay, so look at this. The episode was written by Joe Casey and Duncan Rouleau, and is
Oh.
credited to Man of Action
Duncan
on the wiki
Rouleau?
as well.
Wow.
However, The Kraken was written by Stephen T. Siegel and Joe Kelly, yet was also given the full Man of Action credit on the wiki. So I've been going by the wiki's written by credits. Now, I feel like whenever it's credited to Man of Action, it can mean any 2 of the 4. And it's not always all 4 of them, as the wiki would
Of
lead you
course
to
not.
believe. Look how wiggly the RV is drawn right up here.
Ooh.
The backgrounds have never had
Weird.
the straightest of lines, but this right here is just like very woozy. This right here too. Zombozo's nose here too, and up on the hat. Like this is like the way it's done. It almost looks intentional. Yeah, see, like around this arch, it's like wiggle, 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 and then
Ooh.
come down there, and then more wiggles. All right, that's
How
something I'm
many-
gonna point it out, but just rest assured, it's like it's in this episode a lot.
Oh god.
Cause his skull is a thumb.
Oh my god.
Gross. What's that on his back? Is this like a rabbit or something? It's a TARDIS. Yeah, get the jewels. It's always about the jewels when it comes to robbers. Now this
Of course.
is an interesting effect they're doing right here. Instead of adding in the mist texture effect, it's like they're actually drawing the little glows that happen. I never noticed these colors floating around before.
Oh yeah. I did, but whatever.
Zombozo can teleport too.
Alright, I'm
Wow,
just checking
he's
my
strong.
phone.
It must be all those souls he absorbed, or I don't know, whatever he does.
The faces. What
Yeah,
the?
he's straight up teleported. Look, this paper
How?
going by just disappears into the air,
Weird.
and now it's gone.
Hmm.
See that?
Remember, we were laughing. It was so funny.
Man, Max is me at 5 in the morning.
No kind of glum, that's all.
Oh god.
I'm sorry, I know this is supposed to be freaky, but Max
Yeah.
just seems high as hell right now.
It's not to
Of
laugh.
course.
I'm afraid.
Look at the road.
Yeah, he isn't looking.
Sometimes you just gotta scare the fear out of.
Even when he
Oh.
can barely keep himself together, Max is trying to help Ben with his problems. That would be
Yeah.
pretty freaky as a kid too. If like the adult just passed out at the wheel
Oh,
and now you gotta
yeah.
take control of the vehicle. This shot has a lot of intensity put into it.
Damn.
It is their souls. Pretty much, right? Yeah, he's sucking their soul out right now.
I think he steals people's happiness.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's just a guy with a red rubber nose, big shoes.
It's clearly blue. He's even looking at a picture of him right now.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder what's going on here.
Oh,
So, like,
God.
he can teleport. He can.
Oh,
steal
this shit was
souls or
creepy.
happiness, and now he can like create actual illusions. Like, if somebody else were looking at this, would they also see this, or is this something he's projecting into Ben's mind? Like Ben's actually falling right there,
Yeah.
not he? And then, like, you know, you would be feeling that. You would feel yourself rushing through the
Who
air
knows?
when he lands. And now it's real again. So really, like, what was all of that? This was a pretty
Who
great
knows?
shot too. And I always loved this, how like the machine had him like fly around.
And drain their
Oh my
positive
god.
energy like a sponge in a pool party.
So positive energy. It's such an obscure thing. It's hard to even really think about how dangerous this guy is. Cause like despite all of his incredible power, his whole plan doesn't really make much sense. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking way too
Alright.
hard about it. But even as a kid when I was watching it, like I never really got what he was doing. That kind of made him not seem as dangerous. Because it's so obscure and confusing. That it's like stealing positive energy. Well, what's that? I'm just gonna keep thinking it's souls and call it a day. Or maybe it's positive energy in a sense like, you know, chakra in Ki. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah, it
matter.
doesn't.
Oh god, yeah, see, it's having
Oh.
like a physical effect on her
Oh,
too.
God.
So like positive energy, I guess, is more than just the concept of being happy. It's definitely
Yeah.
like their life energy or something. Like their chi, I guess. See, Ben is pissed now that you're screwing with his
Yeah.
cousin. Yeah, it's very subtle, but Ben is more and more violent every time he goes Ghost Freak. Like I always
Oh,
felt
yeah.
like the fact that
Oh,
Ghost
I
Freak
like
is
that.
secretly scared
I
to
like
the
that.
Omnitrix
I'm
wasn't really
done.
built up as much as it could have been. When I look for the details, I see him there. So perhaps it's good that it's not so obvious it feels like you're missing out on
Yeah.
something. But you can tell like Ghost Freak definitely gives Ben a very negative influence on how he acts.
Yep.
Whatever that was.
Who knows?
So if you
Oh.
look at these tentacles, this is the only time they ever really look like it. See, they got like some spikes
Oh.
coming off of them, almost like it's a hair texture or something. I
Yeah.
like that you only see him
Mm.
from behind too. Like you have no idea what this looks
Yeah.
like.
How? Doesn't make sense.
Self-destruct. You know, I
What?
gotta say, I wasn't too excited to come back to this episode, but
I
it
was.
definitely picked up in the second half. The plot, this is the first time I'm going to give it a 1. While I wouldn't
Hmm.
say it has a very generic plot line,
You know
there's
what?
no real
I
point where
understand
ever felt
that.
like it was going anywhere. I remember back as a kid, like, not really feeling attached to this episode. And now that I
Me neither.
analyze it, I feel like it's just because a lot of it seems to be built around ambiguous concepts. Like Zombozo
I
is a
guess.
mystery. The whole positive energy thing is a mystery.
Yeah.
What's up with Ghost Freak is a mystery.
Yeah.
It builds so many questions and it doesn't answer any of them. And we don't really
No.
have a story
No,
to
it doesn't.
weave it all together. The circus trio are pretty interesting, but once you
I
see
like
them do
them.
their power once, you're kind of like, alright, I get it. And they aren't really used super creatively either. And the fact that 2 out of the 3 fight scenes in this episode deal with them, and I couldn't really tell you a memorable moment from either of them. They just seemed like they were wasting time. Characterization, I'm gonna have to give a 2. Ben becomes
Yeah.
another focal point in this episode, just like in the Alliance and Permanent
Yep.
Retirement. But unlike those episodes, the supporting cast didn't really build off of Ben
Of
at all.
course.
And while Ben does get over his fear of clowns at the end, I wouldn't say it felt earned either.
No, it
doesn't even
didn't.
really
No, it
feel like
didn't.
Ben went through what he needed to in order to overcome that fear. Visuals, I feel like should be higher, but it's still only going to be at a 3. The sequence with Zombozo was very nice, but very short. But this episode had many dull backgrounds throughout it that made it hard to actually get a sense of the scene.
Alright.
The background was also missing half the time because a significant amount of the fight scenes had just the rushing background effect, as if the crew themselves knew that this episode didn't really have anything interesting to look at behind
Yep.
them. And despite 4 villains being in this episode, none of the fight scenes were all that interesting
Nope.
either. Importance, I'm going to give it a 1. Zombozo
Yeah,
only comes back
makes
about 3 or
sense.
4 times in the entire
Yeah, only 3 or 4
franchise, and
times,
is
or
only
4 or
the
5
actual
times.
main villain again
Wow.
once. But this was certainly his best episode. All of
It
his
was.
abilities here were the most interesting, and he was definitely the most threatening here, which is why it's at least getting 1 point. But out of all the season 1 episodes I've seen so far, this one is probably the most skippable. And it does give you the first sneak peek
Yeah.
at Ghost Freak's tentacles. But again, none of this
Ooh.
stuff is really needed for you to understand what happens in
Nope.
the future.
Oh. Well, he did. But the fact is, forgot to say something about that. But the fact that I did probably sums up my views on it. Internet gives it 2. Damn. All right. Oh, all right. Okay. Now what?
My goodness, that gives this episode a 9 out of 25. I really didn't mean to come down this harsh on the episode. Like, I
Damn.
wouldn't even
I
say
mean,
this is
I'm
a
not
bad
mad at
episode,
you.
But I guess when I compare it to the way I've ranked all of the other episodes, it really can't stack up to any of them.
Wait a
I
minute.
can't help but just...
Wait a minute. T. Wait, no, hold on a sec. No. 5. 7, 8, 9. Wait, is it 9? 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 9. Okay, I
Just
thought it was
watch this
10.
episode and be
I
left
don't
with
know
a
why.
ton of questions. And honestly, I don't really care if any of them are answered. So a 9 out of 25? Yeah,
Damn.
I guess that's fair. Now
Me
we
too.
finished all of the reviews, but before we get to my final thoughts,
Oh, God.
let's take another look at that roadmap.
Oh, I
According
thought there was
to
going
Matt,
to be
a
another
user named
5
Roxy
where.
from their Discord figured out the most likely places in Casey, Illinois, as it's most known for a lot of real-life
Oh.
tourist traps,
Oh.
which you can easily find
Okay.
on Google for those curious.
Okay.
And thanks to Kevin's specifications throughout his episode,
Hey, want a tour in New York? I kinda trashed their hangout under the 39th Street Bridge.
we can confidently
Oh.
say this is set in New York
Yeah,
City,
of course.
New York. As a very strange decision for this episode, the Alliance takes place yet again in New Mexico, this time specified as Albuquerque. Both Hunted
Wow.
and the Alliance have been given the New Mexico location
Damn.
by pop-up trivia.
Alright.
While evidence in both episodes can support these claims, it's very strange to make the same stop twice, especially with the route Max has been taking. We end our route with the last laugh, which didn't give us any specific
Nope.
locations or landmarks. So for now, our map is left looking like this, unless you guys vote otherwise. So when planning ahead for these reviews, I found that Ben 10 Classic actually has two separate ways for how to organize the episodes,
Oh.
by US airing order
yeah.
and production order. It's not uncommon for shows to
Oh,
have
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
episodes.
Yeah,
So when
I
planning ahead for
think-
these reviews, I found that Ben 10
Hold on a
Classic
sec.
actually has two separate
Yeah, I
ways
know.
for how to
know.
organize the episodes, by US airing order and production.
Okay, next sec. Yeah, I think the how it is the first one. I don't think it's the last one, or maybe I need to go check on my accent. I don't know which one I'm using. But I think it's the first one is tourist step. I remember, I do. So yeah, I hope so.
Order. It's not uncommon for shows to have their episodes order rearranged by the network for whatever reason.
Whatever
And a fair
reason.
amount of you are probably aware of the nightmare that is the Omniverse airing order, which ruined many story arcs this way, one of which was built up for 2 seasons. But we'll get to
Wow.
that. So far with my classic series reviews, I've been going off of US airing order. With this version
Yep.
of the show, the airing order doesn't matter too much for continuity's sake, but depending on which episode order we're going with, it will change the map that we're making. If
Hmm.
we went by production order, the map would actually look something like this. So I know that when I get to the Omniverse reviews, I'm absolutely going to use the production order. So I feel like I should use the
Okay,
production
good.
order here to honor that sentiment. But from my own
Alright, so I'm going. I don't know if I'm going to use the production order. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to try to it on production order. I'm going. I don't know. I don't think I will, but I'm going to try. Okay, guys, I will. I promise I will.
Speed tab, and you guys can own experiences and many interactions with the fan base. It seems that the most commonly accepted one is actually the US airing order. So to settle this, I'm going to have a poll in my community tab, and you guys can choose which version of the series we will move with going forward. Which means for my poll asking you guys what your favorite episode was, that will come a few days after this one. The results of both polls will be featured in my next review. With these episodes, we're far enough into the series that if the characters didn't start having
Ooh.
some sort of growth or change, they can start feeling repetitive and bland. And I feel like the crew knew that because these episodes really did seem to be focused on expanding the characters. And it seems like they actually do learn from their experiences from previous episodes.
Yeah.
Tourist Trap really plays with the characters and their personalities
for me, no.
from the first 5 episodes. A lot of the humor comes from knowing these characters
The
so
humor
far,
is
and
good,
isn't
but I
straight
just don't
goofs
like
and
that episode
jokes.
that
The
much.
Kevin 11 episode
don't-
pushes all 3 characters straight into their family
Sorry.
dynamics, and it seems that everyone had something they wanted to say about each other for a long time, and it all just came pouring out in this episode in a very negative and unfiltered way. You can really tell that these characters haven't spoken like this to each other before, and it does seem to change who they are by the end going forward. It's only when Ben is without the support of his family that he realizes how much they steer him in the right direction, and
Yeah.
this is reflected on in the Alliance when Ben starts to feel responsible for all the danger he's causing his family. The Ben that actually has the care and sympathy for his family's safety is not the same Ben that we started off with in the pilot episode.
Oh.
But it still feels that way because we've seen all of his on-screen experiences,
Yeah.
and these experiences justify the change and
Yep.
growth in Ben. Now that's character development if I've ever seen it. When it comes to story arcs and plot, we know that the classic series is never too heavy on it. But when it comes to making these characters learn and want to better themselves, that's where you can really benefit from watching this series as a whole, to see that growth. In the 9 episodes we've reviewed so far, the characterization is definitely the highlight of this season. Ben's aliens are used much more creatively in the season than they can be later in the franchise. And seeing
Yeah.
all of this, I can understand why people assume that returning the show to its roots would magically fix all of the problems that the series would later have. Because this season is just so good. I'll talk more about the future seasons when we get to them. But for now, thanks for watching this Ben 10 breakdown. You guys can stay
Alright.
up to date with everything we do on our social medias and join the Discord for some fun interactivity with the
Okay,
fan base.
got it.
You can also join our Patreon for $1 a month for exclusive
thank
weekly
you.
updates on all of our projects. And I'll see you guys next Friday. But until then, keep it fizzy.
Keep it busy. Yeah, well, this took a long ass time. I'm sorry, guys, but I actually wanted to quit. At least the next one is kind of short, but oh my god. Oh, this one's gonna get too messy. Everything of all of these are kind of bad for me. But it's in season 3. What? No, 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 I'm not good. No, 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 no. Oh my god. Oh my god. Why? Why? I think season 3 goes kind of short. Never mind. It doesn't. Fuck. Whatever. But it still kind of goes short. But anyway, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed our reaction. The breakdown reaction. I've been reacting to how Benton handled character development, and now I'm gonna end it. I'm rating 6 out of 10. I'm just doing that because. Oh, just because the rating didn't go for me. Just saying. So rating 6 out of 10. And that's it, guys. So I guess I'm going to end it right now. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my Instagram. For my Instagram, I'm on Twitter. You're getting a link in the description below. And if you wanna go subscribe to the Ink Tank, link in the description below. If you wanna go check out the original video, link in the description below. And peace, adios, bye for now, bye.